Ouija board horror story. In a small, isolated town, three friends, Mia, Jack, and Leah, gathered in an old attic rumored to have belonged to a woman accused of witchcraft centuries ago. The wooden floor creaked under their weight as they set up a dusty Ouija board they had found hidden in a cobweb-covered chest. The evening was dark, and the candlelight cast eerie shadows that flickered with each movement. Leah, the bravest of the three, placed her fingers on the planchette and took a deep breath. "Are there any spirits with us?" she asked, her voice steady but low. Nothing happened at first, just the heavy silence pressing down on them. Then the planchette began to glide slowly, spelling out YES. The friends exchanged nervous glances but continued. "Who are you?" Jack asked, his voice wavering. The planchette moved, spelling out a name they didn't recognize, ALICE. "How did you die?" Mia whispered, dreading the answer. Slowly the planchette spelled THEYHUNTEDME. Their breath caught, but Leah pushed forward. "What do you want from us?" The planchette jerked suddenly, faster and more frantic. LEAVENOW. The warning chilled them to the bone, but curiosity overpowered caution, and they continued asking, "Why?" The board paused as if considering, then spelled out THEYREMEMBER. Suddenly, a cold gust blew through the room, extinguishing their candles, plunging them into darkness. In the blackness, they heard a faint whisper. "They never forgive. They never forget." Terrified, they scrambled to find the candles, but their hands touched something else on the floor, a scratchy piece of old fabric. Leah lit her phone and gasped when they saw it was a piece of an old gown, shredded and dark with stains that looked too much like blood. In the dim light of the phone, they saw faint, hand-shaped impressions on the dusty floor, leading toward the chest where they'd found the Ouija board. The whispers grew louder, echoing around them, overlapping in anger and despair. The last words they heard before the candle finally sputtered to life again chilled them to their bones. "You shouldn't have listened." The next morning, they discovered claw marks on the walls and floor, and no matter how much they scrubbed, the stains on their hands from touching the board would never wash off. From that day forward, they felt a presence following them, something waiting in the shadows, unseen but never absent. They left the Ouija board in that cursed attic, but it didn't matter. The message was delivered. It was supposed to be just another sleepover at Lydia's house, but this time, her friends Sarah and Emma brought something new. A Ouija board. It was an old, splintered one they'd found in Sarah's grandmother's attic, and despite its age, the letters and symbols were strangely clear, as if newly carved. The girls set up in the basement, a dark, damp room with a single bulb casting a faint yellow light. Nervously laughing, they each placed their fingers on the planchette, their breaths visible in the unexplainable chill that settled in. "Is there anyone here with us?" Lydia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The planchette stayed still, and they let out a sigh of relief. But just as Sarah began to joke about wasting time, it moved, slowly, deliberately. It spelled YES. The friends stared at each other, wide-eyed but intrigued. "What's your name?" Emma asked. The planchette moved, spelling NOTRELEVANT. "Not relevant?" Sarah said, laughing nervously. "Okay, what do you want?" The answer was immediate and chilling. TOBESEEN. As soon as the word spelled out, the room temperature dropped, and they heard faint, rhythmic tapping coming from behind them. They spun around, seeing nothing but shadows shifting along the walls. The air felt heavy, pressing down on them, filling them with a sense of dread. "Are you close?" Lydia asked hesitantly, barely able to keep her voice steady. The board answered, INTHESHADOWS. All three girls glanced around, noticing that the shadows seemed to be moving. They weren't just from the flickering light. These shadows were alive, creeping slowly toward them, stretching and bending as if reaching out. In a panic, Emma said, "We should stop, say goodbye." But the planchette wouldn't move to goodbye. Instead, it spelled one last horrifying message, TOOLATE. The light flickered and then went out completely, plunging them into Invisible hands touched their shoulders, brushing against their necks, leaving ice-cold trails on their skin. Whispers surrounded them, low and unintelligible, words that sounded ancient and filled with malice. The girls screamed and ran up the stairs, bursting into the safety of the kitchen light. They tried to laugh it off, chalking it up to nerves and imagination. But they felt strange, changed, and the shadows never quite left them. Over the following days, each girl reported feeling watched, seeing movement out of the corner of their eyes, and feeling unseen hands touching them in the dark. Lydia was the first to find scratches on her arms, thin and sharp, like someone had been clawing at her while she slept. The worst part was the whispers, growing louder every night, forming into one coherent message: T-O-B-E-S-E-E-N. One by one, each girl fell silent, refusing to speak of the Ouija board or their haunting visitor. But at night, their families would find them staring into the corners of their rooms, whispering back into the shadows, as if trying to appease whatever lurked there. No one knew what happened to the board, but the friends swore it had disappeared. Some say it's still out there, waiting to be used again.